Hey everybody, my name is Josh and today... Oh, sorry, just one second. Hello? Yeah, I'm just in the middle of it. What's up? How could I be talking into a monitor? It's impossible. I was talking into a monitor. So today I'm going to show you some of the features of the new Portkeys P6 Monitor. Let's get into it. First off, thanks so much to Portkeys. They sent me this unit to review so I can go through some of the functions and share it with everyone here. Let's take a look inside. So inside the box you get a small plastic hard case, which houses the monitor itself, a standard and a micro HDMI cable, an adjustable hot shoe mount, and a pretty thorough user manual. I'm impressed that the hardshell case is included at this price point. It helps alleviate some concerns about durability, at least for storage and transport. So this is a 5.5-inch HDMI only full 1080 monitor, which admittedly when I first saw it I thought could have been a cell phone. In fact, it almost completely disappears behind my iPhone 11 Pro with the case. So as you can see, this is an extremely compact and lightweight monitor. When I compare it to the weight of my iPhone, for example, it comes in at less than 2/3 of the weight. So this right here puts it in a great spot for a handheld gimbal monitor. This monitor kicks to the curb pretty much every other monitor in its class when it comes to weight. It's also capable of processing a 4K input signal, so even though the monitor itself is 1080, you're going to be zooming in on the full 4K signal that's coming in through the HDMI cable. My Blackmagic Pocket is my only handy source of HDMI for this one, but I do always enjoy feedback on my videos, so. From the front, the P6 bevel is very minimal, which I really like. It gives you the feeling the image goes right to the edge. On the left side, you have the HDMI input and output, as well as a headphone jack. It's worth noting that the P6 doesn't have any internal speaker, so the volume control in the menu is only for this headphone jack. On the bottom, you have a 7 to 24 volt DC input jack, a USB port for loading firmware and LUTs, and a quarter 20 mount. One more quarter 20 mount on the right side. On the top, you've got 4 user programmable function buttons, a nice grippy power on-off slider, and menu navigation buttons. And on the back you've got 2 options for battery power, either the Sony NP style batteries or the Canon LP6 style. Originally I was going to go through every function available in the menu one by one, but suffice it to say this is a very full-featured monitor, and pretty much anything that you can think of that you'd need to do, this can do. So instead I'll just skim through the basics. You've got plenty of options for guides. It gives you crosshairs and plenty of grid options. Standard brightness and contrast controls, sharpness, tint, color balance, LED backlight control, as well as input aspect ratio. Plenty of options for controlling the on-screen display layout. And this I really like, up to 5 different user presets. So you can save all your settings any way you like, switch to a different setup, and then switch quickly back. Another thing I really like is the flip control. It'll automatically flip the image and the menu, and that's also adjustable here, whether it flips one or both. But it saves me a lot of headache rotating the screen around in the menu. I love that it just automatically flips. You can choose to display the voltage on screen, which is really handy. This monitor also allows you to load and save cube files as LUTs. Here you're able to set what the 4 user functions do. If you press and hold any of the function buttons for 3 seconds, a little dialog box pops up and you can set more of the options for that function. And of course you can also update your firmware. I think if this monitor had less to offer in terms of functions, I might have less to say about any criticisms. One thing I struggled with at first was the menu navigation. The menu button, for example, is in between the up and the down button, and since they all feel identical, you'd have to rely on muscle memory to hit the right one intuitively. Even the labeling is a little bit confusing. On the right side, the labels are just to the right of the buttons, and on the left side, the labels are actually on the left of the buttons. Again, this is just something you'd have to get used to by feel. Also, in my mind, when navigating through the menu, plus would be up and minus would be down, but it's actually backwards. Minus is up and plus is down. One other gripe that I had is when you're deep into the menu in a particular setting and the menu times out, and you want to get back to where you were, if you hit menu, you're back at the main page. and you have to then navigate back to where you were. One other thing I notice is if you have a tool enabled on the screen and you want to set any of the video settings, like brightness or contrast, they're actually grayed out and it won't allow you to. So the only way to control brightness and contrast at that point is you have to turn off your function, and then you can go back in and set it. I'm assuming that the tools just take too much processing power to allow you to change the settings, so you just have to do one at a time. And finally, the small form factor and lightweight of the build, while ideal for the reasons I noted, also leaves this monitor somewhat unprotected. I haven't had the chance to have this on set, so I don't really know how it'll hold up in a field environment, but I'm hesitant to subject it to any abuse. Since there's no protection or glass over the screen, if you nick this, it'll definitely show up. This is exactly what I would expect for any monitor in this price range. And for me, it's just part of the deal when you remove weight and size. I was thinking about making my own screen protector out of a sheet of acrylic and 3D printing my own clips similar to the ones used on the hood. I'll try and post a follow-up if I make any progress on this. To load your own custom LUT, first create the adjustment in your chosen color software. I'm using DaVinci Resolve here. Make sure your USB media is formatted as MS-DOS. Right-click on the clip and choose Generate 3D LUT. I'm using a 33-point cube here, but I've tested 65-point cubes and they work as well. Save your cube file onto the USB drive and eject. Pop your USB drive into the port at the bottom of the monitor. Choose Menu, LUT Config, USB Looks, choose 3D LUT, select your USB drive, and then select your LUT. Now exit the menu. Once you've exited the menu, your LUT will be automatically applied. To turn it off, go back to the menu, choose LUT Config, and set LUT to off. You can cycle through any saved LUTs by going to LUT Config, Stored from USB. I haven't found a way to delete any of the stored LUTs, so I assume that you'd run out of space eventually. But if you do a factory reset on the monitor, then it'll delete all the loaded LUTs. So that's it for this review. Overall, I'm extremely impressed with the number of features they were able to fit in such a small and inexpensive monitor. And if you're gentle with it in the field, or if you're using it just for studio use, I can see this being an incredibly useful tool for many. Thanks again, and happy shooting.